that the voice is the most potent sound healing tool. Yep, the voice, your voice. So, thank you so much for getting us started with those likes. Thanks for your presence here. If you have time tonight, we are talking about freeing your voice to free your life. Now, this is what do I mean by that? When you go about freeing your voice, you have to really go into the whole energetic chakra system. You have to learn how to free your physical body. You need to look at your thoughts, feelings, and emotions around using your voice. And a lot of those are a lot of younger self woundings. And you have to look at your connection to your greater self source. And so really it goes, you have to look at the 5 pillars of wellness for you to have a strong voice and be able to use it. So when I say free your voice, in the process of freeing your voice, when you go through all this reprogramming, you actually free yourself. You become more authentic. You become more confident and trusting of yourself. You feel more embodied. You feel like this authentic nature. You feel connected more to the whole. You love yourself more. You accept yourself more. You like yourself more. All of this happens when you free your voice. I don't know what that means. We'll lose their subscription benefit soon. I don't know what that means. So my friends, let me know, what are some of the biggest things that hold back your voice? Whether you've tried to be a public speaker, whether you've tried to be a singer, whether you've tried to do sound healing and chanting and things like that. Like, where have you tried to use your voice, but the fear and the stress and the discomfort held you back? Oh, we got messages. Let's see. Thanks for the follow, Pam. I appreciate that. Hi, Estella. Ruth, Erica, hello. We're talking about voice stuff. So one of the biggest things, last week it was terrible. I'm sorry. One of the biggest things that holds us back is fear. And fear is usually sits in the root chakra. Fear that if we say something or do something in a way, we're going to get rejected. So it's a very pre-verbal fear. And I always wonder, like, as a child or a baby, like, what happens that we get this information or this vibration that, ooh, contract, silence up, whatever. It's not safe to vocalize. It's not safe to cry. It's not safe, right? So that's kind of our biggest and deepest wound with our voice. It's usually pre-verbal, before we were even like talking. It's usually about crying. It's usually about emoting our emotions on some level, our discomforts, because we didn't have words and somehow it was silenced. So it usually starts there. And then toddlerhood, we become just like, woohoo, right? Terrible twos. We're making a lot of noise and a lot of chaos. And it starts, someone just dampening down, like, you're too much. Shh, quiet down, So those are two of the big areas in toddlerhood and pre-verbal where we kind of get the messaging that it's not safe to vocalize or express or even be emotional. It's not safe. I'll get rejected. So put a thumbs up if that feels like a reality for you. And thanks for the likes, guys. I appreciate that. And where are we going to work? Good evening. Hi, Anna. Oh, it's Annie. Anna or Annie? I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart. What else do we have going on here? So Let's work with the basics here. Let's work with the root. Annie, okay, Annie. So let's work with the basics. Annie, Annie is a subscriber of mine, so she gets I focus with my subscribers first if they come on here. So we're talking about freeing the voice and then freeing our lives in the process of freeing our voice. So I know you do a lot of voice work, Annie. So what is something that you feel is holding you back? And we just started talking about the root chakra wound of holding back because we want to fit into tribe. We don't want to be rejected from love or nurturing, right? And so that crying or that emoting, pre-verbal. So I'm curious, Annie, like what is your do you feel that root chakra wound around voice? Okay, fear of rejection. So let's work on that. So fear of rejection. Everyone just take a minute. Your root chakra sits at the base of your body and feel yourself connected from there to the earth. Okay. And just feel in that it's safe right now to feel. I have started vocalizing outside. That is helping. Yes. Yeah, vocalizing with nature is so wonderful. It's really our first tribe, nature, right? Um so when we feel rejected, it's a very old part of ourselves. So our adult self has to talk to this young preverbal self and say, hey, we're okay. You are part of my tribe and we are well. Neighbors can hear and I can be okay with that. Awesome, Annie. Um, so this is progress, and you can sing outside and you don't mind being heard. That's the rose. Woohoo! When you sing outside, or you can sing in front of a family member and not like contract in fear, that is positive. But we want to go back in. We want to go back into this first space of rejection. So think of the energy of being rejected, and ask yourself, how old is this? How old am I being when I'm feeling rejected? Yes, Cami. Yes, yes, yes. Give them pots and pans. Give them art. You know, it's interesting though. We can be good moms and do all that, yet I think my mom and dad did that too, but they always had pots and pans and we always had art and stuff. But a lot of times these things, this first pattern of rejection happened when it wasn't playtime. When parents wanted to go to sleep, they were exhausted, and yet we still screamed out because still wanted them, or we wanted comfort, yet they were exhausted. A lot of times parenting, it's just tough to meet another human being's needs when we have to deal with our own needs. And sometimes this isn't done out of poor parenting or even neglect. It's just born out of just how life is sometimes. But somehow this child felt that crying he wasn't going to be heard, or he had to be silenced on some level because the parent was just too exhausted. Yeah, before two for sure. Yeah, great. So it's really awesome, Annie, that you got that. So that question is really invaluable when you're thinking about freeing your voice. And when we're working with rejection, the idea of rejection, you get the feeling of that energy and you ask, how old am I being? And you can tell it's like 2 or younger. And it's a very old wound. So now what you can do is, when you see yourself as younger than 2, we can start asking that part. We can say, hi, Are you willing to talk to me? And you say, I am your adult self, and I am here to support you. And you ask that young part that. Now, even though they were pre-verbal and stuff like that, they can still hear the words and understand you. Trust your own instincts are doing good. When something doesn't feel right, speak up. Why high-pitched noises are unsettling for me, and whining. Oh, interesting. Because those were the sounds that were rejected from your parents. Yes, Cami, when something doesn't feel good, it's important to speak up. But when we have this root chakra fear and wound, we want to speak up, but we can't. It doesn't feel safe. And so that's why we are trying to free the voice here and clear some of these energetics. So whining. And so you're doing a really good job, Annie, at just getting this pitch noise. So you're getting clearer and clearer. So now what you could go into that young one and say, you know, what do you want me to hear? What wasn't allowed to be heard, and what can I hear right now? So that's another way you can go into your part and just say, what do you want me to hear? I'm here to hear you and see you, and just say, what were you communicating with the whining? Or did you feel unsafe? So it's just this little conversation with this young one. And what I've noticed is it's really wonderful to actually sing, especially to these really young parts. They respond really well to singing, like a lullaby. So let's do that right now. For all of you that feel this rejection wound in their first chakra, I'm going to sing a little song to that part of you, and you can even sing a song on your own to that part of you, and see if this song helps them feel more relaxed, helps you take that rejection wound and put it in perspective of the adult self. Okay, so here we go. Just singing a little something like that to your little one. So Annie, did you feel like, well, thank you. Thank you. And I'm sure you have a beautiful voice too, a beautiful frequency in your voice too. Thank you, Tracy. That's beautiful. So rejection. We're working with our little young rejected self, and we just sang to it. That felt like mother's love. Good. So now, how did she respond? How did she respond to mother's love? That young one, Annie. Did that soothe her? Did the rejection energy feel less attached to you and more like a part. So the idea is, when you're working with parts, is that you just start creating space so that you can be your adult self and not the effect of this part. And you start working with this part in a very compassionate, loving way, but you don't have to be the effect of it anymore. Make sense? Thank you for the hearts. You guys are awesome. So thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. Mwah. So that's how I work with people. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And it just starts letting the wound down there be something that we can work with, be something we can hug and process. But then we get to be our adult, clear self in this present moment. And who would we be in this present moment if we didn't feel rejected? We probably would be sing out or speak out. The other thing about rejection and judgment, and this is a lifestyle thing. I have a daughter named Rebecca. Oh, great. Thanks, Tracy. Blessings to your daughter. So get this too. This is an interesting thing. If you, and this might be tough to swallow, this might be tough to hear, but this helped me a lot. And it helps my clients a lot too. If you feel like you're being rejected or judged out here, where are we judging ourselves or someone else? And right? So if we've been judged as a little kid, then we know how to judge people. We start judging ourselves when we judge others. And then when we get up there in front of people, we feel like people are going to judge us. So we can turn this around. If we can let go of judging others and learn to be an allowance of them, we can get up on any stage and feel like, well, they're not judging me. I don't judge them. I'm not going to judge they're not going to judge me. Makes sense? I remember my children and grandchild at a young ages, but don't remember mine. It's okay. Sometimes you can just feel the energy of it. I don't have lots of memories either, but I use the vibrational energetic that I feel of something. So how do we get out of our judging? So there's that piece around judgment and rejection. But then there's this other piece, is that empathically we can pick up on other judgments of someone. Oh, thank you. That someone's having of themselves. So this is interesting, right? Like, so sometimes people have judgments of themselves that we're taking on as a judgment of us. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it can happen that way too. You've had a lot of social nerves from a young age, like shaking on stage. Yeah. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. We're all just mirrors. Yeah. So how do you get out of being judgmental and judging? This really helped me. This is a body of work that I was in for a while, called Access Consciousness, and this is it. Someone write this down in the comments. Interesting point of view, I'm having that point of view. Or interesting point of view, they're having that. Or interesting point of view, interesting point of view, or interesting point of view, I'm having that point of view. So anytime you feel like you're receiving for judgment from someone else, you say interesting point of view. And anytime you feel like you're having a judgment, you just say interesting point of view, I have that point of view. And just see everything as an interesting point of view and let go of the judgment around it. Okay? Think about judgment and just interesting point of view. They have different energies to them. One feels more like an energetic dagger, and the other feels like, oh, interesting, and just like water rolls right past you. Water right off the duck's tail kind of thing. So this is how we start helping our our judgment nature, right? Interesting point of view. And the more I love myself, the more there's just love out in the audience. So this is reprogramming work. It's not like something that's gonna just boom get it done, but like these are practices that you do. Interesting point of view. I'm having that point of view. Yes, Catherine, thank you for writing that down. If you use this for the next week, every time you feel like you're judging yourself or judging someone else, you may notice that the energy of rejection and feeling judged goes away. And when that goes away, you're more free to use your voice. And that's working with the root chakra. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, so let's do a little bit more root chakra stuff. So rejection and judgment, trust. Okay, where did we lose trust? Where did we lose faith in humanity? Where did we, right? When we were in our crib and cried and no one came to get us, right? And so sharing our voice with people that we have no faith or trust in, it's hard, right? And that means speaking, public speaking, or just speaking your emotions to someone, or singing a song at an open mic, or just using your voice to chant at an event, right? Like, if you don't trust the people you're around and you don't trust humanity, you may have a hard time trusting them with your voice, which is so vulnerable. Completely foreign for me. No judgment, though. No worries. No worries. Some of us have these experiences and some of us don't. I just got, what's the right people? Beautiful, beautiful. And that is a beautiful way to live. But a lot of people haven't gotten that training as a young person, right? Younger person, trust God and the right people put in our path. But that is a wonderful root chakra affirmation. Like, God will put the right people in front of me and I will be blessed. And so we have that affirmation. So affirmations are a great way to turn energy around. Didn't use to feel that. You didn't used to feel that. Yeah. It's a process, right? It's a process. And, I'm 52. I'm starting to really feel this path, this how the universe has my back. But when I was in my 20s, that's when I first started singing in front of people. I was shaking in my feet, shaking in my shoes, but something, I got up there and something just felt like I was supposed to do this, even though I had fear. And sometimes we have to, if we feel a soul calling, we have to feel the fear and then frickin' do it anyway. And that's where this has led me. I joined because I was just reflecting on how little I trust anyone ever, and heard you say trust is hard. Yeah, trust is hard, KK. Where do you think that is? Where do you think that comes from? Why is trusting hard? Do you have like a conscious idea of where that came from? So all of this sits in our voice. All these frequencies sit in our voice. All this resistance to using our voice come from these early wounds. Yeah, you know where. Okay. And so let's sing to that. Okay. So here's a little sound healing for processing our trust issues, right? And intention plus sound equals outcome. So as we're doing this healing to trust more in our lives, may we trust ourselves enough and trust others enough to have fun with our voice, to communicate our feelings, to communicate our joy, to sing out, to tone, to sing, to speak. our soul's greatest longing, okay? So here we go. All right, feel into your root chakra. Feel into that sensation of I don't trust, and see if we can shift that energy into I trust life. I may not trust the person that did this to me, but I trust life. And now what is possible? Tune into that young one who started to not trust life. And say to her now, ask her, can I hold your hand? Will you trust me? I am your adult you, and we made it through. We can trust life. We can. Say that to them, and then sing a version of this. Chant with me. Sing it with me. Him a hey ho. Kay, yes, yes, yes. The situation today, trying to be strong enough to trust others and yourself. Well, this is where that starts, my dear. You are in the right place. I'm proud of you. You're doing great. You're facing it. Somehow you attracted this tribe into your day. And this is where it starts. This is where the unwinding starts. And the remembering of your power and your strength starts. And it's singing to that fear that's keeping you from trusting. And it's giving some space between the you now and the part of you that has this fear pattern. You are not the fear, okay? Ultimately, we are the trust. Ultimately, we bloom into trusting life when we are in this healed space. I'm so glad that felt healing. And so these first chakra wounds are tender. They are very old. And they're the ones that we tend to blend with the most because they're so old. We might say, well, this is me. This is who I am. And it's not. That is the part blended with you. So what we want to do is just have compassion for ourselves and create a little space. And sometimes when we sing to it like that, we create a little space, I've noticed. The protected me only lets the light in. That sounds like a good plan. Annie, I'm reminded of the essay by Brene Brown called The Midlife Unraveling. Oh my God, I've never heard of that. The Midlife Unraveling. I'm going to write that down. Got to read that. Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that, Annie. So, trust and rejection. These are usually a first chakra wound. And we just need to move energy there. So think about this. So what I do is I work with the 5 pillars of wellness. What do we got here? Paula just scrolled in. I didn't realize this is a women's only group. Much respect. Oh, thank you, Donnie. Well, feel free to stay. You can. It's important to learn about each other, right? Hi, Alice. And this particular group isn't particularly about women. It's about our voice. It's about voice, freeing our voice, which is doing a lot of healing work. And when we do that healing work with our voice, we actually free our life. Our whole life gets freed up. Brene Brown came up today in my situation. Talking about being vulnerable, the synchronous. I think Brene Brown is something to go get. Right? Let's all read that. Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for the like, Alice. Alice, we're talking about our voice, freeing our voice. Do you feel free in public speaking and singing, Alice? Because that's what we're working on. We're working at like first chakra wounds so that we can be more free in speaking up and speaking and expressing ourselves and even singing and sounding out. Alice is another one of my subscribers. Alice and Annie, they're great people. And even Pia, I don't know if she's here, but yeah, go follow them. They're great women. All right, so let's keep going here. So rejection and trust. And we talked about judgments. Yeah, free spirit is what I am. You are a free spirit? All right. So excited I came across your live. I think I have a lot of fear of being seen and heard. It's a really common thing. So what happens? So I think we all have a little bit of that. You know, I used to have, let me tell you a little story. When I was, a lot of my life, I did not want to bring attention to myself. And I didn't really know why. Like, it was a strange thing. It was like, it was kind of beyond like expressing myself. It's like, I wouldn't put bumper stickers on my car because I didn't want to be singled out. And I didn't want to like, be too loud in the neighborhood because I didn't want people to see our family or see what we're doing. Like there was just some weird things that I did. And I realized, so this might be a little both uncomfortable and thrilling to be witnessed. Yeah. uncomfortable and thrilling, exciting and fearful. They run on the same kind of nerve line. But for me, it was like a past life thing or something. I had this chiropractor session, and I didn't realize she was a seer. And she started like clearing. She started like doing this. She's like, "Oh, whew, there's a lot of smoke." And I was like, "What is she talking about?" And then she said, "Were you at the burning times?" And I'm like, "What?" And then she's like, explained she was seeing something from the past energetically, and all of a sudden I got an image. I had this dress on. I was at the burning times, and then I came down the mountain from that session, and I wrote this song about that, and it came out of me, like just came out. And I wrote that song, and I realized that I think I've had some past life experiences that where when I actually was seen and heard for my capacities, that I was killed, right? I was burned at the stake or killed. So I have lived with this kind of thing, and now I don't. That writing that song some years ago was very healing for me. I've stopped having dreams where I felt like I was being chased, and so being seen and heard was really scary for me too. Yet I still became a singer-songwriter that felt like I had to do that. Thank you. That makes sense, total sense to me. It's easier in a role. Yeah. Fire and childhood nightmares. Oh, wow. That's interesting, Tracy. It's easier in a role. My job requires me to talk on a mic and perform. Trainer, I have a few. Not my character. Ah, that is very interesting. Yeah. You know, I've gone through worrying about color I wear. Oh, interesting. Am I healing? Let's see. My healing is why I dropped in hearing about grounding frequency, the awakening. Yeah, Donnie, feel free to stay here and listen. Okay, what makes total sense to me? Yeah, that makes sense because like you're a role, you're a character, you're not vulnerably letting certain parts out if you're in a certain training in a certain role. So that makes sense. So what would it take for like because all inherently we know that every frequency that we've experienced, thoughts, feelings, emotions, wounds, triggers, everything experienced, is a frequency that can possibly come through the voice. The voice is such a vulnerable thing. But it depends on where you're focused. So if you are focused on a trauma, you will hear it in the voice. If you're focused in a certain mood in your day, it comes through your voice and you can hear it. And that's why when you say your name in the morning like 10 times, Rebecca, 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 right? You can start to, sometimes you're unclear of where you're at, like what's going on for you. If you say your name, all of a sudden you'll get clarity of what's going on for you. Where are you on the emotional guidance scale? Where are you with your moods? What belief are you hanging out in? And then from there you can say yay or nay, or let's program this day differently. So that's just a little trick you can do. Oh yeah, KK, that makes total sense to me. Now, this was another story. I'm into stories tonight. You're focused on helping others. Does that make a difference? Oh, that's an interesting question. I think it does, Tracy, because yeah, that is a very interesting question because the other night I was at a friend's house and everyone was doing karaoke, and karaoke is an edge for me, even though I'm a songwriter, I've performed, I do this, but karaoke is something different, and my voice was really kind of off, and I could tell I was focused more on my edge than being of service, and so I feel like when I am of service, my voice just blossoms open, and it's like source God is here helping me just do whatever I do. When I'm singing karaoke, it was more like my personality and my ego were kind of like, so that's very interesting. But I did it anyway because I was like, this, I have to get up there. I can't be a voice teacher and a and healer and not go up there, and I have to face my fears, be uncomfortable, and do this anyway. And I did, and I wound up having a lot of fun, but I did notice that my voice, I was just like, I don't recognize my voice right now. It was weird. So that is a very interesting question, Tracy. I was completely at home talking to people when masked. It's harder showing up as me. Yeah, it is. It is. What else? I'm glad I think of. Okay. So here's an interesting story. You're back, Alice. Yay. Here, okay, story, and then we'll do some more singing. When I first started doing open mics and performing out at coffee shops, I was a way more shyer person than I am now. I was very held back. I wasn't as embodied. I was scared to dance. I mean, I was a way different person. But when I was on stage, this flow of source energy would come through, and it was teaching me how to sing, how to be with other people watching me sing. And I remember as I performed, as the years went on, that I started to feel like myself. I started to feel like this is me. But I was just like, this is me when I'm up on a stage. And I was just like, and then I get off the stage and then I feel like this again. And so when I noticed that, I started to be like, okay, well, how do we live like this all the time? Because I want to be myself all the time. And that's what helped me. This feeling of complete connection with my source self. And then it showed me how to live like that when I wasn't on stage. Showed me, what I was hiding, what I was hurting from, and somehow these things moved out of the way, and I just became a more open vessel for my source self. And then I would have more witnesses, a witness mentality of the hurts and the wounds, but they are not who I am. And I was able to witness that and make the discretion and live from my. This is what vibrational wellness is, or vibrational alignment. You want to choose, where are you choosing to align with each day, from a certain wound or from your source self. And we really can choose it if we witness it and we create a little space from it. And then we go in, and when we have time to kind of go in and process and heal. Oh, I'm glad, KK. Yeah, so that's kind of, and in the process, I'm burned out and mourning the loss of a friend and bandmate, as well as a loss of no longer singing. I'm sorry you lost a friend. Did they pass out of their bodies, or did they say goodbye out of your life? Well, I hope they passed. I'm so sorry. That's hard. Yeah, I'm really sorry. Let's just take a moment. Well, I hope you keep singing, because singing is a really good way to process grief. Actually, in the Celtic tradition, they have something called keening, or keening, I think. And these keeners go to the memorials and they wail. They wail and they sing and wail, and they get the people at the memorials to cry and move the grief out. So how about we do that for you? Okay? So I'm going to do a little keening, and all of us here, let's help Duda with moving this grief. Now, notice a part of you that might want to hold on to the grief because you are mourning her and miss her. And if you aren't sad, that might in your psyche mean that you're not missing her, or right. So yeah. So the thing is with grief is that you do want to move it. You don't want to hang too tightly onto it, because then it becomes complicated grief, and it can really prevent you from living your life. So you do want to move that energy. So when my dad died, he died 8 or 9 years ago. He was only 65. I was very close with him. I was one of his caregivers. And when he died, I thought if I cried, I would cry for days, but it wasn't true. I let the grief come through, and the grief, I would cry for 10 minutes, 10 or 20 minutes, and then I would be happy. It's okay to be happy and sing while you're grieving, and let the grief come in waves and then move it through. Yeah, let the pain teach you and grow. Let it flow through, but don't let it tell your whole story. Yeah, beautiful, Alice. All right, so we are holding you in your grief, Duda. And I'm going to do a little grief movement singing, okay? And I'm sure everyone on here has some kind of grief that they could tap into that could move, okay? So grief can be complicated and can sit in a lot of different areas of our psyche and energy system. So it's good to move it. So this is our grief song, okay? And we're holding you in your grief, and we're here with you. So, you're welcome. So, did anyone feel how that could move grief? Oh, I love that. Could you feel how, like, making those sounds or just listening to those sounds could start to move the grief a bit? So that is the power of keening. And I think it's like keening. I think it's keening. But it's wailing. It's wailing to move the grief energy. And I encourage you to wail, look up keening or listen to it. This live will be downloaded and put onto my YouTube channel. And you can listen to that again if you want. Or just to let you guys know, I do private recordings of sound medicine. So if you have a specific need for sound healing, I record it and put different layers of things you need for vibrational healing. And it's about a 20 to 30 minute recording. And then we do coaching throughout the month while you're listening to that every day as it moves energy. So that is called my Align program, my custom sound medicine program. It's over on my bio link. Oh, you're welcome. You felt it in your cells and felt like it was moving out my ears. Wow, cool. That's a really cool thing. So the thing is, guys, when I'm talking about freeing your voice, what if you could get so free in your voice that the ego and personality kind of just are like in your backpack, and you could just surrender your voice to being sung by Source, by God, by whatever you want to be sung by. There's such a freedom in it, and there's so much peace there to be sung by the authenticness of life. It's pretty cool. And so that being sung is the true freedom. And to get there, we got to move a lot of things out of the way and process and shift and accept and allow and have compassion and forgiveness. And there's a lot to do to come to the space of being sung. Yeah, it's amazing when you feel it in your cells, for sure. So that's why this is called Free Your Light, Free Your Voice and Free Your Life. So I think I'm going to be doing a new program. It's going to be a 90-minute program called Free Your Voice, Free Your Life, and that's going to be coming up. I'm trying to figure out if I should do it as a group or if it should be a 90-minute one-on-one. And then I'm going to offer a gift. I have a course that's going to a vocal toning course that's going to be linked onto that program. I just got to get that all digitally connected. But just curious if anyone would be interested in a 90-minute course on a little bit more systematically going through this stuff with the 5 pillars. What I call the 5 pillars is basically in yoga therapy, it's called the 5 koshas. And it's like a map of our humanness, right? Of how to live in peace. And so these 5 pillars are the physical body, energetic body, mental, emotional body, intuition body, and the spirit body, and how we detox and clear those vibrationally, and how we reprogram them for trust, for living in the present moment, and really coming into our voice for whatever soul calling we have, whether it is singing and sounding, or whether it's public speaking or teaching, or whatever. Each one has its own glory. You're open to it. Yeah, great. So yeah, freeing our voice. All right. What else is on people's plate here? Where do you feel like your voice is not free to be heard and seen? What else? So we've gone through a lot today. We've gone through a lot in a short amount of time. We've gone over rejection and trust and judgments and grief and being seen and heard. Sounds like a great program. Great, 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 great. Oh, I'll let you know when it's all ready. um, I'll let you know when that program is ready. So yeah. So what else keeps us from feeling completely free in our voice? So this is another thing I like to teach. That's something called vocal awareness. Vocal awareness. This my voice for the past 25 years has been my barometer for where I want to be. So it's like, what I mean by that is, at first it started out like I would listen to my voice, or I'd feel my voice and I was like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have eaten the ice cream. Oh, I shouldn't have eaten the Alfredo pasta, because I started to notice that I would get congestion, and when I would sing, I would feel and hear the congestion. So being a new singer, I was just like, okay, I want to sound as good as I can, so like I'm just going to stop eating those things. I stopped eating those things and my voice got clearer. And then I started to study about diet and stuff, and I was studying the blood type diet. I'm blood type O, and wheat and dairy is all something for my blood type that doesn't work for my system. And so my voice already had told me that, right? But you can hear your wounding and your mental states in your voice as well. And it can give you a lot of awareness of where you are living most of your life. So, for example, so many times I thought I was in a good mood. I was relaxed in my life. But I remember being a teenager, I was like a senior, and I was sitting on someone's porch, and we were having like a senior party or something like that. And I forget what was brought up. They were just like, someone was saying, oh, like, you're a really stressed out person. And I was like, me? I'm like pretty chill. And so the picture I had of myself wasn't what someone else was hearing and seeing me as. So that's just very interesting to me. So your voice can let you know where you are with aligning yourself with who you think you are, your authentic self. So here's another example. One time I was oming. I was doing this practice Chloe Goodchild had me do. She was one of my voice teachers, and she said, "Om and see what's there." So I was oming, and I was thinking I was in a really positive, good mood, and I started oming on the way to the grocery store, and I was oming, and then I realized that there's something dense there. There's like a sadness there. And it didn't seem in alignment with how I thought I was, the mood I was in. So there was a discrepancy. There was not alignment here. So I kept oming, and I kept tuning in to the sensation of that sadness, or that weird, that low grade depression. And I kept oming, and I kept oming. And by the time I got to the food store, the tone in the om, which you have to get used to hearing and sensing, but this is vocal awareness, it shifted. It shifted, and then all of a sudden, by the time I got to the store, I was like, I've aligned. I've aligned with my good mood, my authentic self. Right? Because our wounding and our depression and our sadness is not our authentic self. There's being authentic with our emotions, but our emotions are not who we are. And a lot of people mix that up with saying like, I gotta be who I am. I'm this and I'm this, and it's just not really. The self is more just kind of pretty simple. Pretty simple. It's very the self is light. The self trusts and feels good. And anything else is a part. All right, that's amazing. I wish I had paid attention more to the, whoops. Yeah. Yeah, Tracy, it was, I went to college for, one second. Okay, I gotta get my, my plug-in thing. So many people think emotions are bad. Emotions are not bad, but how we attach to our emotions and make them who we are is not bad, but it's destructive to us. It makes us suffer. Emotions are an alarm system, and they need to be felt and expressed. But when we hold on to them and express them over and over, the same thing, we get stuck there. And Abraham Hicks talks about this in her emotional guidance scale. We're human. We're going to play with the gamut and the flow of emotions, but we never want to get stuck there. We want to move through them pretty quickly. I am not my body. I am not my mind. Yeah. We are source having a physical experience. Now our bodies are communing with us to have these experiences, and the mind, the psyche is working with us. But sometimes we're confused at who's in charge, right? Our source self. We're going to have the most delightful experience if we let the source and the source self be running the show rather than the mega mind or the body or the emotions. All of these things are kind of just experiences and ways of having an alarm system. And I'll explain that in a minute, because the way these 5 koshas work is very interesting. They're all kind of these alarm systems to whether you are really in the perspective of your true nature of source. Let's see. Oof, a hard one to accept. Well, to live. Let's see. Decisions based on emotions, that can be a problem. Yeah. I am not my body. I'm not my mind. Yeah. So it does help when we say I'm not my body, I'm not my mind. So what are we? So that's what we want to affirm, what we are. Right? So put your affirmations of what you are in the comments while I go get my power supply. Oh, you want to join us? You want to join us? You can join us. Exactly. Easy to get lost in what I am. That's why it's hard. I don't know who I am. Oh. All right. So this is good stuff, because I have to have this perspective, because I still don't have a brand new. I need to, let me see if I can do it this way. Hold on, guys. The feeling of blinding sunlight in the middle of a summer day. Beautiful. I love that. Okay. My minister program has a lot of things about our self-concept and our self-image. This grounding ourself in what we know we are is what has helped me have my voice. Because when you know who you are and know what you're not, you're willing to show up and be of service as the light. And so I would say that is the biggest thing that has helped me to do stuff like this, perform at churches, do sound healings in front of people and just sing nonsense syllables. I mean, sometimes I listen to recordings of my sound healings and I'm like, wow, who would have thought that I could just open my mouth and just let anything out in front of roomfuls of people? It's one thing to sing words in a practice song, but it's another thing to just be like, blah, 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 blah. It's just a lot of trust I've cultivated to do that. I am energy and light, and I am love. Beautiful. All right, let's hear more of these. What are you? The feeling of blinding sunlight in the middle of a summer day. Beautiful. Daughter of King of Kings. Beautiful. All right, anyone else? We have 23 people here. Anyone else want to say an affirmation of who they are? Who are you? Who you? And I'm going to try to find one of these. So let's see. Let's hear some more. I am joyful. I am loved. I am perfect. Beautiful. I want to share some of these affirmations with you. I am love. How about this one? Calm and peace exists within me, for I rest securely in the knowledge that my real self speaks with honesty. Oh, okay. So this is kind of cool. I can't find the manual. Let's see. Self-image. Here it is. Okay. All right. So here's some things about who you are. Okay. My true nature is a part of eternity, and I am unhurried in my daily activities, maintaining patience with myself and others. My life is source and God ruled, source directed, source powered, and so I vibrate confidence from the very center of my being into every area of my life. This is a really powerful one, but you have to come into what you believe in, okay? This affirmation uses God. I use the word source. You could use the word love. You could use universe. You could use higher power. So whatever it is for you, you put that part in. But this is whatever it is, whatever you are, like I feel myself as source, this is where you're going to get confidence from, and this is where psychological confidence shifts into cosmic trust. So many people want to know how to be confident, and you could work on like all these little bullet points, but switching confidence to cosmic trust is where it's at, because confidence can get shifted if you're having a hard, like, psychological day, a moody day. But you can have a moody day and say, I am freaking opening the channel up. I am source. I trust, right? So here we go. I'm going to say this again. You put in what word works for you, okay? My life is source ruled, source directed, source powered. So I vibrate trust and confidence from the very center of my being into every area of my life. Yeah. I know, I like cosmic trust too. I just made that up. Well, they made it up. Cuts through so much. It cuts through so much, doesn't it? So what I have found is I've done a lot of psychological work. I've gone through a lot of therapy. And I have found that when I'm having some of my hardest moments in life, that falling back on my spiritual ground gives me the most support. And so that's what I work with. So another thing that I use, this is an access consciousness thing that I use. Every time I have to get up in front of people, I say to myself, what energy, space, and consciousness can I be through source to be the biggest contribution to these people in front of me and myself? And when I line that up and I say that several times to myself, then I just let go and I let the energies be at play. And that means I can get out of my head. If I mess up or if I go off script or whatever happens is perfect. Just like Tracy said way earlier, God lines up the right people for me, right? Like when I do this little exercise with like what energy, space, and consciousness can I be, know, and do through source, to be the biggest contribution. I just know that I've set the intention and I'm going to show up. I'm going to do me. I'm just going to like do what I do. And it just gets you totally out of trying to get it perfect, trying to get it right, trying to sound right, trying to use the right word, trying to have the right tone. And I really feel like anyone can become a great singer. Yes, if you have the desire and the willingness to practice mentally, physically, and spiritually, yes, you can become a great singer. So there's only a very small percentage of the population that is tone deaf. So I would say if you're tone deaf, if you wanted to become like an opera singer or a classical singer and you needed to be just on the right pitch, that probably is not the right singing for you. But if you wanted to do chanting or like a spontaneous toning, I would say anyone can do that. And most people, if you wanted to put the work in, can do classical and opera singing and be a great singer. You could use that in any aspect of your life. Beautiful message. Thanks. Yeah, I do. I use that in every aspect of my life. Yeah. Yeah. How often do you need to practice for your life? Well, let me tell you. When I was becoming a songwriter in my 20s, and I was teaching myself to play the guitar, and I was really, really obsessed around songwriting and singing, I'd work 44 hours during the week, and I would stay home during the weekends and just lock myself in my room. They say to become a master at something, it takes about 10,000 hours. That's what they say. You know, my son just got a bass, and I'm trying to let him know like what it takes to get good at something and how to just keep staying with it. The thing is, you have to get obsessed with it. You have to feel like you want this more than anything, and you stick with it and you practice every day. Because when you sing, you're going to notice things come up mentally and emotionally. You're going to notice that things happen to you physically, and you're going to learn how to use your body in different ways and your breathing in different ways. And if practicing feels like, I got to practice singing, I don't know. I don't know if you'll get there, because to be a good singer, you got to sing a lot. I don't really read music either that much. Yet I'm a professional musician. I'm a professional singer. I'm not like out there with Beyonce on the stages like that, but I'm a professional singer. I get paid to sing at nursing homes. I get paid to sing at churches. I get paid to sing at sound baths. I make my livelihood from singing, and I don't really read music. I mean, I can if I had to, but I don't really do it. You're welcome, Tracy. Thanks so much for joining. Really appreciated your encouragement and your engagement and your stories. So, Cheyenne, 10,000 hours. Try for start with 15 minutes a day. Oh, your brother could play guitar by ear. That's awesome. That's a wonderful gift. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Here's some more self-image affirmations, because when we base our self-image in our authentic source nature or our God nature, this is when we're going to have the most ease with learning to sing, freeing our voice, doing and following our soul calling, because this is how it gets lined up for us. So listen to this. As Source or God had the ambition to create this entire universe, I have the ambition to do the very best I can in life with God's ever-present creative power within me. Now, if the word God doesn't work for you, use source, higher power, love, whatever it is for you. I really believe that our nature, our true nature, and our true image and our true concept of self is source based, is love based, and everything else is kind of like a little barnacle on it. We gotta pluck the barnacles off. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So that's about the ambition, Cheyenne. So if you think about this, if the universe was created and had the ambition to be created, if you really want to be an amazing singer, you have the ambition to do the very best you can by really connecting in with your source or God's self, your authentic spiritual self. If it just feels like a soul calling to you, you will do it. And it did feel that way to me. It felt like a very big soul calling to sing and sound and use sound to be of service. And if it feels like that to you, you will do it, and you will find the paths to do it. Greatness. All right. Through the source-directed power of my being, I achieve greatness in my own source-inspired way in my life. So we are this universal energy, higher self, source energy, whatever you want to call it, God. We are this individualized. And there will never be another expression of source individualized like this ever again. We're it. Unless you talk about like parallel universes and timelines and stuff, which it can blow your mind, but this is it. We are individualized. So your soul calling is taking source and giving it an experience through this individualized self. Go run with that and let your... Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. Yeah, higher power. All right, so I was going to talk about the 5 pillars, and then we'll call it a night. But the 5 pillars, this is the way they work. So there's the physical, the energetic, the mental, emotional, the intuitive, and then the spiritual. Now in yoga therapy, what they talk about is when we disconnect from our spiritual self, basically when we're born and we get stripped of our memory of being a spiritual being, then we have to find it again. And hopefully we have parents that kind of show us that. And if we don't, we start disconnecting and we have this perspective of ourselves that we are separate from everything. And when we become separate from everything, our intuition and our witness body starts saying, psst, hey, come on, psst, come here, back here. But if we don't get that and we don't hear that, then our emotions happen, our feelings happen, and we create belief systems and thoughts. And those thoughts, our intuition tries to let us know through our emotions that, hey, you've left the building of your knowingness that you are a spiritual being and you are one with all creation and you have the power of worlds behind you. But if we don't get that and we attach our self-concept to our emotions, then we don't know how, we don't realize this. So then this goes over to our energy systems, our chakras and our nadis, these energy systems in our body that we can't really see, but we sense, and that can be seen by, intuitives, or that can be seen by certain photography, or you can feel the meridians with the Chinese medicine, the acupuncture. But it gets clogged up in our chakras and our energy systems. Now, if we don't catch that clogged upness somehow, then it goes into our physical body as a tension and an ache and a disease process. And so this is the whole program of yoga therapy. And it doesn't really work this linearly, right? Everything's kind of going back and forth. But basically, all these things happen because we forgot who we really are. And our whole life is remembering, oh yeah, we have the energy of the creation of worlds behind us. And the emotions are just letting us know, these feelings are letting us know, oh, I don't feel very powerful. I don't feel very happy. And we don't feel happy and powerful, we know that our perspective is off. go back and get connected in with your higher self. And then all this starts to clear up. So this is the base of all healing. But you also have to do healing in all these areas. Once they do get clogged up, you go back and find your base, then you clear this up, find your base, clear this up, find your base, clear this up. That's how healing works. In recognition of this, I was whole, not broken the whole time. Beautiful. Yes, we're not broken. We're just, I don't know about that. Okay, thank you, Lucky. So this is the process that I go through with people to free their voice, because you can go through this whole system, right? Find your self-concept, free these areas, and then you'll have your voice. And then I take it to another map where we do vocal awareness, vocal technique, learning how to use your body to vocalize, and vocal empowerment, releasing the mental emotional stuff around that's keeping you from your voice, right? And so we go into those three things. So that's how you free your voice, and then free your life. And I've been on here a long time. Let's see, 7:30, 8:30, almost an hour and a half. Where am I based? I live in Lafayette, Colorado, but I do most of my work online, on Zoom. Yeah, or programs. So yeah, so I have sessions called Awakened Voice, and those are just one-on-one voice sessions, free your life, free your voice type sessions. And then I also do sound healing programs, and I do programs for midlife women. So yeah, you can check out my website. There's even a free download over there, and my YouTube channel's over there. There's lots of free stuff on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Is it Mugen? Oh my God, no way. You're in Arvada? How great. Oh, we should definitely connect if you're... And I teach people how to free their voice, but not necessarily sing Beyonce. You know what I mean? So I use voice as a somatic healing tool. So we will free your voice, and I can teach you how to chant and be sung, and I can teach you how to use your voice as a healing tool, but not necessarily like, how to audition for a play or something like that. So, but if you're looking to do School of Rock and Wildflower Music, both are in the area and both have really good, more traditional vocal teachers. Bye, Tracy. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I appreciate that. Free your mind or your voice, and your body will follow. It really does sound easier than it is, though. It really does sound easier than it is. Free your mind and your body. So that's the thing. It's simple, but not easy. And I say that all the time when I'm writing my blogs. Like, it's very simple. And I was on Globe Sound, this international conference they had. It's simple, but not necessarily easy, because the concepts are easy, the steps are easy, but then we got to go in to a very complicated system of the body and of the mind and of the spirit working together. And we go in and we use these simple maps, but sometimes there's a lot to look into and process and be with. So it's simple, not necessarily easy. Yeah. And so knowing the map is simple, but working with all our shadows can take a little while. And it takes sometimes having a mentor, and it takes having homework and doing lifestyle things that are different, than waking up and doing a morning practice. doing a singing practice, a personal practice, a spiritual practice, doing affirmations. It's work. But, if you want personal freedom and you want your voice in a certain way, I'd say it's worth the work. It's been my whole life's work. And when I was a teenager and suffering mentally, I was like, I just want to be happy. I really just want to be happy. And I'm 52 now. And I'm happy most days. Things happen to me. I've had a hard month, actually. But I'm happy. I'm happy again. Yeah, a friend of mine of 25 years let me go. She was moving and then just was too much for her to keep the friendship. And she just wanted to end the friendship after 25 years without much explanation, with no explanation. And she did it in a very cold way. And that happened this month. And it was kind of like a death for me. But we can't let our life circumstances dictate our happiness. And then I have a family member who was going through a hard time and was taking space from me and having a very hard time, and that's been very hard. But again, if we let our outside circumstances affect our happiness, we're in trouble. So we feel them, we move the energy, we find support, we get energy work done, we use our voices, we express, and we get to know every day our authentic source self. And that's always there for us. It's always there. Thank you, Alice. No, I'm good. I've found some peace with it, and it's actually taught me a lot about codependency and some of the codependency nature that I have to heal, and it's all good because everything that's happening out there is really kind of a reflection or mirror of like some of what we need to look at and stuff. So seek some truth. I'm so grateful. Healing indeed. Thank you, Lucky. So I've it's kind of simple, but it's not easy, and I really do speak from experience. I was so shy and shut down. I remember being in elementary school and being called on in school, in the classroom. And I would say the answer or something like that. And they'd be like, Rebecca, we can't hear you. Can you say it again? And oh my God, I would start sweating. I would get so, it'd just be awful. It was just, I can feel it. And so I was really, really shy. It's been a journey. My voice has had my back and has shown me the way. It's weird, it's to say that your voice has my voice has shown me how to heal. My voice has shown me how to pick myself back up and express and keep singing. That's exactly it, Alice. You'll be okay because in the end, you got you. Exactly. You're welcome, KK. Gosh, we've been on here 90 minutes. All right, my beautiful friends. So take advantage of the free discovery call or the 30-minute intensive one-on-one. Right now is the spring special. It's $44 for 30 minutes if you want to have a special one-on-one with me, or any of the other offers I have. I will let you know when I have my special 90-minute program happening. Free your voice, free your life. And what else? Yeah. That's everything. I'm going to go eat dinner. Oops. You guys want to say goodnight to my pup? Say hi, Callie. Say hi. They're right there. They're right there. They're right there. See. You too. Have a great night. Thank you. You guys are amazing. Thanks, sir. This is just, it's so lovely having you guys return and meeting such great people and interested in the stuff I'm doing. So I got 3 minutes until 9 o'clock. I'm going to sing everybody out. Have a great night. Yeah, anxious. Yeah, me too. All right. May we all have a very restful night's sleep. That's fun. We hit 6,000 when we hit 9 o'clock. Cleopatra and Ace, thanks for coming in and following. I don't know if you just got in, but thank you, Cheyenne. I've been on here about 90 minutes and we were just ending. Be sure, guys, to join me at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, 8 Pacific Time, 11 Eastern Time tomorrow. We're gathering here, thank you, for 3 minutes of love. All right, I come on here around 8:50. At night, we get ourselves ready to hold the frequency of love through sound from 9 to 9:03. This is a movement that I'm starting with my brother, trying to gather as many people as we can to just hold the frequency of love for 3 minutes and see what that does for the collective. So if you can, come to the live. If you can't, set your everybody.